Бонжур, хату интеллигенция. Продолжаем пляться по Гонконгу в поисках нашего приемного бати. Хеой. Хеой. Давай, Хеой, грузись. Я в тебя верю. Что очень долго грузится. Это непонятно почему. Такс. Приблизить. Алло, колесико, работай. О. Хилимся, живем. Хранилище, что у нас там? Ничего нет. Ничего нет. Окей, тогда направляемся к госпоже. Может, у нее будет какой-то хитрый план, чтобы отомстить нашим обидчикам. Нифига тут делегация собралась. Поехали. Kindle's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and an air of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bowed at the feet of Kindly Chen. She beckons to him with her finger and he struggles towards her. The loud rustling of the plastic tarp crackling under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. An acetylene torch lies on the table at Chen's right hand. How did you sleep, my little ones? Fine, thanks. What's the guy on the floor? What's with the guy on the floor? Shitbird here is a plainclothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that your rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. You can thank Mr. Bao for that. О, Мистер Бао. Давайте кивнем просто. Now, Shitbird, tell my friends here what you told me. I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the orders in last night. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department is on it. I don't know anything else. Someone from high up? How high? The cop looks up at her, looks around at the room filled with triad soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it slowly and winks. All the way up. It's someone on the console. Хрена себе. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead? Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. It's the truth, madam. I swear it. Whoever it was labeled them as terrorists. We are to terminate with extreme prejudice. Kindly Chen shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strokes his head with her hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into scalp. She pulls back hard until the chin points high. The triad boss leans in close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. For whatever reason, last night someone on the executive council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered the Hong Kong police force to kill 2 nobodies from Seattle. I find that fascinating, don't you? Not really. Corporations can just... Не, стоп. Okay. Вот это, наверное, все-таки. Yes, but why we need to label us international terrorists? Propriety, my darling. When the government has someone gunned down, they prefer to make it appear justified. The people feel safer when their murders feel like part of civilization. My, but you have definitely fallen into the deep end of the pool. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There, the megacorps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The exec council is chosen by the corporate board of governors. They're basically the legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call all the shots, neat and efficient. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power, but not for us. Who else knows about my guest's visit to Hioi, shitbird? No one, madam. I hadn't called in yet. I wanted to kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. Mr. Bao? He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. Thank you for your honesty. Был пацан и нет пацана. Так, что у нас тут? Looks like the triads can be just as efficient. Yes, my darling. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the walled city, something having to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. Now they want you dead too. This plastic-faced man showed up on your door one day too. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gunshot dead, I found myself with 2 job openings. Как удобно-то, а? Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players unaffiliated with the triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourselves resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. That can be a positive in this line of work. Shadowrunners. Wu grunts his jaws tightens, but he stays quiet. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. You'll have safe harbor here in my town and a steady source of income. And while you dip your toe into the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime, and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find the plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's talked to, who stood to gain from his death, what this prosperity could be. And what's in it for you? Besides the money and the benefit of helping others in my community, I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then order the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Fate dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. Вот это, кстати, мне на руку. Это мне на руку. We are Westerners. Isn't that a liability in this business? Oh no, on the contrary. There's a good market for out-of-town talent that's just wanting to be exploited. Plus, you are unknown, a surprise if you will. I find the right jobs for people with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of new yen very quickly. It's all very civilized. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my network work for you and help you find out what you've gotten yourselves into. Without my help, you won't last a day out there. You're completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You need a partner. Kindly Chen will be your partner. I gotta wrap my brain around this, Vlados. Things are moving fast. There's a lot to process. Так. Think about it, Duncan. This gives us freedom to find out what happened to Ray. I know, I get it. I just gotta reconcile this whole... Ah, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. I mean, what about you? Так, что же я? I'm gonna find out who killed Raymond. Someone's gonna pay. I thought that Raymond was dead. I'd agree with you, but he's not. Raymond is alive, I'm sure of it. So I'll run the shadows as long as Auntie Shen keeps up her and the bargain helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it's done. Hawaii is now open to you. First order of business. Vlados here has already chosen a street name, but Duncan Wu doesn't exist anymore. You'll need one too. Yeah, okay, I'll think of something. I think we've already got you covered, Gun Show. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that that was gonna stick. It has stuck. Gobet, Isobel, we'll handle the same way we did with your previous work. All the jobs I line up for you will be sent to your computer on the squad boat. Got it. Why him? It's a simple process of elimination. Isobel isn't the leader type. You got that right. As for Gobet, let's just say Gobet doesn't have a head for business. Not my thing. And then there's a Gun Show. The jury's out on Mr. Gun Show. Meaning there's a lot going on with in that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. Удобно описали. Gun Show will be fine, trust me. Kindy Chen makes eye contact with you and holds it. She keeps it steady for a long time. Don't worry, I'll be cool, Vados. Okay then, guess I'm running the show. Gonna be weird calling you Vlados again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. I guess this is our new crew. Welcome to the Shadows. Так, что мы там уровни получили какие-то, да? Что у нас тут? Гоббит, это шаман. Шаман это который с этими самыми, с фетишами, да? Так, можно укрепить духов вызываемых. Спиритуалист. Думаю, можно пойти по пути духов, потому что с ППХи там точность вообще нулевая. И хрен она попадет вообще когда-нибудь. Так, следующий у нас кто? Мини-лаунчер. Декер. И программа. Тарбластер. Ну, в Матрице, по идее, мне базовых программ хватает обычно. Там не надо дополнительных, в принципе, и можно будет купить на всякий случай. А вот мини-лаунчер — это интересно. Давайте попробуем. Лаунчер. Так, и главный наш сорвиголова. Firepower Round. Так, дополнительная броня. Точнее, дополнительное пробивание брони, дополнительный урон. Либо... Crowd control, да. Наверное, огненный снаряд, Little Force. В принципе, по-моему, эта обилка уже была в предыдущих частях игры. Нормально там отрабатывала. Так, ну все, уровни получены. Выходим. И теперь надо добраться обратно в каюту. Crew advancement available. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking the icon in the lower right corner. Так, ну это понятно, это, собственно, то, что я сделал. То, что я уже понажимал. Идем к компьютеру. Компьютер. Your workstation and mission computer. The cool blue tones of the workstation's main menu fill the screen. A blinking message in the upper right corner notifies that you have 6 unread messages. Так, ну давайте. Welcome to Hioi. From Kindly Chen. On behalf of your friends at the Hioi Chamber of Commerce and the Swift Winds Mahjong Parlor, I welcome you to the community of Hioi and to our new business venture. I have already lined up 3 jobs for you. The details of each are contained in a separate computer message. Remember to check your messages often, as I will update you with new opportunities as they occur. Isobel. Hey Vlados, I've set up your mission computer to automatically collect and collate new reports, information and media that might be of interest to you. Some of the keywords I've got in trolling for the things like Raymond, Duncan, Walled City, etc. I've also patched in a permanent link up to the Hong Kong shard of the Shadowland BBS. It's a great place to connect with other runners, sell, pay data, get news from the street and so on. Don't be shy about taking a look. Поглядим. Это куда она? Shadowland BBS. Окей, тогда читаем дальше. Ресурсы. Bao. I have been instructed to inform you of the various supplies presented in Hioi. Auntie Chen has cultivated a commercial district of well-stocked and trustworthy vendors. Whoever you choose to do business with, you will be in good hands. Ermin Kafai at Club 88 is an excellent resource for acquiring additional weapons should you require any. If you are in need of magical supplies, go to the Parlor of 5 Phases. If you desire training in the path of the Adept, seek out the Spider Shen. She can help you as well as supply with any close quarters weapons that you might desire. Так, мое главное... Клуб 88. Осталось только понять, как он на карте выглядит, потому что все в иероглифах. Rome Alley can supply with cybernetic enhancements and medical supplies. The proprietor 10-armed Ambrose is a cyber surgeon of some repute. Lowe's Technopalace is a Wampon-run supplier of the local decking community. The place is hard to miss, just look for a sign glowing in the sky. If you need drones, reliable Matthews Robot Bazaar is your best way, and I pity you. Хром аллея, окей, тоже надо запомнить. Best of luck in the shadows. As fresh meat, you are likely to need it. Serial killer. From Kindeshan. I've got a problem, Vlados, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with the Shampons. If you're not familiar with the term, I'll forgive you. You are an outsider after all. The Wampons are a tribe of techno-fetishists and deckers who've taken up residence in the Whampoa Garden area of Hong Kong. They make and trade high-tech goods to people from all over the world. A lot of yen passes through their pasty little fingers, and I make a lot of money brokering deals between them and the smugglers here in Hioi. I've hit a snag though. The Wampoan elders, their council of leaders, are being eliminated by a serial killer. They've asked me to dispatch someone to get to the bottom of it and stop the killings. And they're not taking their goods through my stuff until I do. So you are going to be my proxy, dear. I don't care how you do it, but I need some murders stopped. The Wampoans have delegate here in Hioi by the name of Maximum Law. Speak with him if you wish to know about Wampoa. He's got a big mouth, but he knows very little of importance. Don't expect much from that half-empty bottle of Vinegar. You get your ass down to Wampoa Garden and talk to the elders. Lie, cheat, and steal if you have to, so long as they're convinced that there won't be any more murders. I want my cut back, and I want it soon. Соглашаемся, что поделать. Good. I'll tell the elders you're coming. They don't like outsiders. And they might shoot at you if you don't warn them that you'll be arriving. Так, это получается два дополнительных задания, да? Я могу выбирать, по идее, любое. Любое. Так. Кинли Чен. Welcome to the Shadows, Lados. I've received a request from an archaeologist named Mr. Drake. He's interested in liberating certain artifacts from beneath a manor house located in Taipo. I've attached a copy of the video message that he sent me. Hello, Madam Shen. I've heard that you're a woman who knows how to get things done, especially with regards to things that aren't legal in the strictest sense. That's exactly the kind of help I'm looking for. Recently, a rich investor by the name of Liu Hua decided to expand his manor house on the outskirts of Taipo. Too much money, not enough space for fancy parties. He hit a snag with the local government officials, however. They suspected the land his estate was built on may have pre-modern archaeological artifacts buried beneath it, all of them dating from the Song dynasty. Consequently, I am contracted as an archaeologist to oversee the excavations and ensure everything was properly recorded and catalogued. Sure enough, we were only a few days into the excavation when we discovered a series of tombs lying beneath the site. The scope of the tombs was far beyond anything Liu and I had expected. Several acres of catacombs at least, and untouched relics throughout. What's more, they are certainly older than the Song dynasty. They may even be from the previous cycle of magic. Before I could make my report to the Free Enterprise Zone authorities, however, Liu called his allies in Tentian Incorporated. Liu sold the entire site to Tentian, who then leased it back to him. Because Tentian is considered to have extraterritoriality in Hong Kong, local authorities were powerless to stop Liu from looting the tombs. He immediately began building a museum, if you can call it that, atop the site. He had the goal to call his museum the Emperor's Tomb. Can you believe that? The odds of there being an actual emperor buried there are basically nil, but he doesn't care. Anything to sell a few tickets. Liu has continued his excavations using Tentian contractors to expand the dig. What he didn't know is that I bugged his comlink before he fired me. Based on what I've heard, something strange is going on the lower levels. Workers have been disappearing, only to be found dead several days later. Whatever is down here is too dangerous to be left in Liu's hands. Liu must have found my data line tab, though. I stopped receiving any information 3 days ago. The last thing I heard him talking about were a pair of ancient texts that workers had discovered. Then he issued an order that further excavation should be halted until we can secure the subterranean areas. I'm betting those texts are the cause of whatever's killing the workers. I have quite a bit experience with these kinds of dangerous excavations, but an operation of this scale is beyond me. I need a team that's tough enough to get in and survive, aren't afraid of making a mess, and who can get out with the books and whatever else they can carry. Beyond the 2 texts, I'm willing to pay very well for whatever other artifacts your team can liberate. The more valuable, the better. Don't worry, they'll be going to actual museums, not some rich playboy's mansion. I've got a second program in place that will surprise Lou's security system. The team will have to be careful though. There are only so many alarms I can suppress. Go beyond that number and I'll scrub the mission. I've included a catalog of likely items to help the team appraise the most valuable ones. They don't need to be subtle, in fact. I'd prefer they make it look like a common robbery. Tell them to smash and grab what they can. Let me know when you find a suitable group of Shadowrunners. There you have it, a nice simple robbery. Do you think you can handle something that basic, dear? Have faith in you. Let me know when you're ready to proceed. I'll contact Mr. Drake and you're on your way. Тоже соглашаемся, почему нет? Excellent. I've attached directions to Lou's estate to this message. Good luck. Don't fuck it up. Ну и получается... кстати, у меня отображается, как все эти работы. Нифига. По идее, у меня уже должно быть 2 активных квеста. Так... Geomancy is big business in Free Enterprise Zone. Here in Hong Kong, Feng Shui isn't just an act of rearranging your kitchen to make things look pretty. The fortunes of empires rise and fall with the ebb and flow of Qi, and sometimes that flow needs a helping hand. Wuxin Incorporated are the preeminent practitioners of large-scale key manipulation here in Free Enterprise Zone. They've gone to great lengths to channel key from all over Hong Kong into their headquarters, an enormous monstrosity that they call is Wuxin Sky Tower. There it is focused and transformed into good fortune through the building's geometrically attuned architecture and interior decoration. Our client believes that it's time for Wuxin good luck to run out. You are to infiltrate the Sky Tower and disrupt the flow of Qi throughout the building. But you are to do so in 2 distinct fashions. First, you must disrupt the feng shui of the offices by subtly altering the environment of that level. This will consist of minor adjustments of desks, spilled water, and other small activities that are unlikely to be noticed. Ordinarily, even subtle disturbances of this nature would be noticed. This is why the client wishes you to make a much louder demonstration on the rooftop garden. The garden is to be ransacked, utterly destroyed, set fire to things, uproot trees, that kind of thing. Our client has also specified that he would like you to destroy the large Buddhist statue in the garden, smash the thing to bits and leave them scattered across the rooftop. This level of destruction will keep Wuxin geomancers busy long enough that the more subtle disruptions below will take effect. In addition, it will send the kind of message our client would like Wuxin to hear. I have utmost faith in your ability to cause destruction. The more disruption you can cause on both levels of the Sky Tower, the happier the client will be. As you are not spellcaster yourself, it may be wise to bring Gobbet along. She will be able to see the most effective ways to disrupt the key of the building. Тоже соглашаемся. Good. Contact me when you're finished the job, and I'll send you your cut of the payment. Так, old message. Только что все прочел. Job directory. Pending jobs 0. Но тут, я так понимаю, active jobs 3 штуки, да? Что у нас тут? Давайте поищем по terrorists in Hong Kong. Been hearing some buzz about some mainlander terrorists that showed up in Victoria Harbour and had a shootout with the HKPF the other day. Anyone heard anything on that? Min Pao said there were 4 of them that got away. 1 dwarf, 2 orcs, and a dwarf. 1 dwarf, 2 orcs, and a dwarf. Звучит. A troll, an elf, and a human were all killed on the scene. Word is that they are members of the White Star out of Henan, coming here to start trouble against the Executive Council. Looks like there's a 50,000 new yen reward for any information leading to their capture. The HKPF seems pretty nervous about letting these bastards walk freely around the streets. You think they'd actually pay out to somebody like this? Not a chance. You walk in there to claim the rewards, you're getting thrown in a hole with them. The HKPF doesn't keep promises to the sinless. Couldn't hurt to try. Why do you have to be such a downer? Because I know the police. They're all dirty, they're only in it to protect their paychecks, and they don't give a damn about anybody else. Believe me, I'm just looking out for our best interests. Like you and your triad looked out for my brother, you know he's still paying for his reconstructive surgery, you bastards. If a man wants to keep his teeth, he should pay what he owes rather than pull a gun on me. Simple as that. Ну, про эти неинтересно наводить справочки. Окей, значит что? Надо в идеале найти... все, вот теперь подобавлялись квесты, подобавлялись, и теперь появились указатели, куда идти. Единственный вопрос, это как здесь вообще определить, где тот или иной рынок с теми или иными торговцами. Я помню, там клуб 88, тут ни хрена ж цифр нету. Ни хрена не так очевидно, как хотелось бы. Но выглядит, конечно, шикарно. Максимум лоу. Я помню, к нему тоже вендор, да? No, I'm telling you. Nobody uses KM3s. Like nobody. They're shit. I don't care what Dan says. If Shareways SRP uses KM3s, they're stupid. Hey. Flash is rolling up. I gotta go. I read that DNA. Your work for Kindly. Who are you? Who am I? You are new here, I get it. I don't know about me yet. You don't know about me yet, but you will. I'm one of the guys that keeps this neighborhood running. This is Low's Technology Palace, satellite territory of Whampoa. You step on the boards, you are in the sovereign state. I represent Whampoa here. I'm Maximum Law. The Maximum Law, yo. Это та мелкая сошка, которая должна меня ввести в курс дела, да? Так. Эта штука стоит чего-то. Yo, that shit is banned. Lift it off some Yellow Lotus. They traffic this stuff to limited slim chips, full sensory experiences. You looking for a buyer? I can make it happen. How's 120... Что-то как-то дешево. Ну ладно, согласен. Well, yeah, I'll sample it first. But these cat hots can send you for a trip. Don't worry, I can handle my sims. Так, хорошо. Покажи, что у тебя там по технологиям. Бластер возьму. Но не для себя. Так, хорошо. Why are you wearing VR goggles? It's not VR, it's augmented reality. We are pioneering it. Little cameras, matrix overlay. I can support a 3-dimensional HUD, and sub-windows will live multiple feeds. I've got a command shell open right now. I'm networked with 5 guys. Wave of the future. Понятненько. Wave of the future, huh? A future where you can't look anyone in the eye and you assemble a B-grade sci-fi character? Hey, if you don't understand it, it's not my problem. This is new world. They're the one who is going to get left behind. Boom. Понял. Расскажи мне про вампуа. We are pretty much the best, yo. What do you want to know? Yeah, just tell me about the tribe generally. Who are you guys? You really are new to Hong Kong, aren't you? We are the Neo Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Heaven and the Con Shadow Nets. We are the Con Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of Hong Kong, and in those shadows you will find threads of golden light like a vast spider web that carry information. Those golden threads and that web is Wampoa. My buddy Red Storm wrote that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we are bleeding edge on the path of the singularity. We are doing things no one else is doing anywhere, except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we are building a society of truth and experience and information. What's Wampuan doing on Kindly's turf? Are you a liaison? What am I doing here? I'm an ambassador. I broker Wampa services to Hioi. Emissaries like me are all over Hong Kong, tying it together in an invisible network. So you work with Kindly doing tech for the Yellow Lotus? Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more the street level. We are all parts of big machine, each piece playing its critical role. Sounds like you are entry level. Whatever, I know who I am. You don't need to. More important, I am Wampuan, and I know that we are what we are. I want to speak about something else. I understand someone's killing your elders. His face goes grim. A red light blinks on the VR goggles. A lens swirls quietly focusing it on you. He grins, his teeth audibly radiating nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit's crazy, full on medieval. I can talk about it. It's a tribal matter. Controlled information, right? We're gonna solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Actually, I've been contacted to help the elders stop the murderers. Whoa, really? We're pulling it outsiders? Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you doing here? Go to the garden and help stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody's guessing. The elders are being quiet and the rumor knob is going crazy. You seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal? I'm more outspoken, yo. I don't need the mid-space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. Is that a one-point thing? For those for us who are most dialed, maybe. We are post-cultural. I hardly see any of the mid-space. Our mid-space headquarters is a big 20th century ship. That's totally awesome. Whatever, it's just a mid-space. Wampa is bleeding edge on the path of becoming the singularity. And in the singularity, there's gonna be nothing but straight up truth. Boom, truth. Outriders don't understand us. Maybe you can, if you're really smart. We are in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my Googles right now. Time's wasting, Vlados. You gonna buy something? Нет, ничего покупать не буду. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Тут вообще никого нету. Ну хорошо, будем двигаться по желтому маркеру, где бы он ни был. Там, скорее всего, в метрохе будет выбор, какой... На какую миссию отправиться первой, я полагаю. Да. Так. Значит, первым делом старейшин, артефакты и ломать всякое говно. Давайте по старейшинам, как раз с ними сейчас и поговорил. Additional runners available. Окей, окей. Значит, братишку берем в любом случае. Ага, и тут еще куча, которых можно нанимать за деньги, но это не имеет никакого смысла. Короче говоря, берем свою основную команду и радуемся жизни. У нас гранатомет, 12 урона. Неплохо. Неплохо. Поехали. Гарден, поехали. Outsider. Wampoa Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon. Rife and every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steamed buns, and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks the streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Wampoan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ooze and fear, and those Wampoans you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before ordinary residents are menaced as well. Ну, кстати, если добираются в первую очередь до лидеров, то, наверное, больше ничего и не надо. Так бы, скорее всего, с мелочевки и начали. Unspent Karma. Пока тратить не буду. Там десяток, наверное, должен быть. Да, десяток. The streets of Wampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks of sticky orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other rarer scents. Ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and totes urging people into their stores. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to live again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feelings I had when I lived here. Not that I know of. This place seemed like heaven after the walled city, like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned there was a promise of a good life. Turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. That's a great life lesson, Is. I'm serious. At the end of the day, life is a raw deal. You've got yourself and a handful of friends, and that's it, nothing else. You got some strange ideas about life. Sure, that's a meat grinder, but come on, there's gonna be more to life than just surviving. Does there? What makes you the authority on that? I'm done talking about this anyway. We're looking for the Wampoan elders. They're gonna be in Wampoas itself. That's a big ship down the street. It looks like a yacht. That's the one. Kinda hard to miss. And it's been a fixture since late last century. These days, it's just a squat. Shops are family affairs, not corporate ones. Is there anything I should know about the Wampoans? They're all tech heads, tinkerers and self-taught scientists. Despite the fact that there is no formal education system, everyone here is pretty smart. They apprentice kids to skilled workers so they can learn a trade. Elder Gao taught me decking, and I left after she got brain fried trying to crack a Mitsuhama network. Elder LP taught me to shoot. He should still be here. Come on, let's go see what they have to say for themselves. Текс, ну хорошо, давайте. Опять камера улетает куда-то в космос, и надо накручивать. The Vamp Ones. Кораблик. Или что это? Это эскалатор на кораблик, что ли? На яхту? Только там был эскалатор вверх, а тут мы вниз почему-то. Ну ладно. Погнали. This rock woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny treat screens and speakers. The treat screens display snippets of treat broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoints with a susurrus of voices speaking Sperthial, Punjabi, Kazakh and other languages. Her expression is haggard, and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Welcome to the Wampa, my friends. I am Elder NG, and these are Elders Tank and IP. Thank you so much for answering our request for help. We had nowhere else to turn. Sure, whatever. We are under threat. One by one, the Elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. The prodigal daughter returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Wampa in my lifetime, Isobel. When you disappeared, Elder Yetund was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you choose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you places though. I don't cart this round for fun, Eep. The lessons kept me alive. Where's Yitunde anyway? I expected her to be here. She's dead. So are Gen and Nakamura, and Ton was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. That's what we are here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isobel. What can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was Gen. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. He'd been torn apart, his head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was also much blood. It took us a week to clean out his apartment. The rest have been the same, always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare, and every time nobody has seen anything. It's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing has happened to the rest of the victims. Evisceration and dismemberment. We sent a guard to keep people out of his shop, but he will let you in. He will let you in. And when did he die? Sometime early tonight. He'd locked up his shop, but Eep stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside looked like a bad horror scene, just like all other murders. I had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop was open when I was on my own way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the police? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They've tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and riots, handle their matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowlands hub. We are too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us when the HKPF or anyone else decides we are an easy target. They handle out physical security and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. The last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's duty laundry over the treats. They got the picture and backed off. Have you made any enemies lately? Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We are not mercenaries or criminals. We are the merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster whatever it is. Plenty of meta-humans are monsters too. NG. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. What do you guys do? They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants, that's what. You're being unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. We keep the Whampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements with our outsiders to see if they're good for the community. We provide the guide and vision like a town council. I can respect that. I'm glad you understand. This community is fragile and the authorities bear us a lot of will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am the invoker of spirits. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on the people here. A heal to seek and ensure the feng shui of our habitants is as good as it can be, given our confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She's just got some cookie spin on it. Claims her totems in some kind of full encompassing machine gods that lives in security. Circuitry. Господи, кто такие слова придумывает? Английский, вы за что? Circuitry. Что-то явно связанное... Circuit, это что, цепочка или Не. Цепочка, electric circuit, по-моему. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck, it's mine. I built it. The only spirits it's got on it are the ESPs I load it up with. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove that they have effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that, bullshit. This guy treats drones like they're living things. Is that right? I am the first and glorious server. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed AutoFab is my shop, and Purview, there we make the drones we use and sell. As for me, I serve as the resplendent voltage spike. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy life of head of security. That's all for now. It might be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they're seen or heard anything after you've gone to Tong's Security Carnival. They may have seen or heard things we have not. Good to know. Так, а что еще с тобой можно поговорить? Ага, все, больше ни о чем, да? Так, поискать в саду. и навестить карнавал. Тут вообще есть что-то интересное, что можно было бы подобрать. Не знаю, там гранаты, например. Хоть что-нибудь. Но одно можно сказать точно. Как минимум некоторые из этих вампанцев, гребаные наркоманы, поехавшие кукухой. Так, карнивал. А Гарден где? Гардена и не видно. Ну, погнали в карнивал. Porter Lamb at your service. The elders told me that you'll be coming. They tell you about what happened in town? Just the basics. Well, nothing is basic about that. I've seen people shot, stabbed, beaten to death. Hell, I've even seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that's got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. Ну, давайте. Tong's Sensory Carnival looks like a scene out of B-grade slasher sim. The cloyiness scent of intense hang thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, it does nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Ton littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order. At least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you're about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drained blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. Вот так вот, да. Ну, в целом, да, немного чувака потрепало перед смертью. Tong's body. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what is left of his body would be described as savaged. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Wampuan's elder. The Wampuan's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body into a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Sweet heaven, Vlados, I haven't seen anything like that since Auntie One tried to stash some cracked sticks in a devil rat's nest. It takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. I'll second that. This ain't a murder. This is more like, I don't know, a feeding frenzy. If it weren't for the skin, I'd say Tong stepped on a goddamn mine or something. Гоббит, осмотри тело. You're the boss, man. This is gonna be unpleasant. There's no fear here, Vlados, no anger either. Just this kind of satisfying feeling. Ton never saw it coming, and whoever did it was professional about it. Which is pretty odd, because nobody's professional about eviscerating a body as far as I know. You mean the murder wasn't some kind of animal attack? I don't know why the killer was after Tong, but it definitely wasn't any kind of mindless creature or even someone particularly passionate. It was somebody who planned this and executed it and was glad about it. I don't know, it kinda feels like it was just business as usual. Ну, учитывая то, что это серийный почерк, то да. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which has hardened into a crusty, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood has been deliberately smeared. Hey Vlados, I don't know a whole lot about science of all that, but I know what blood looks like when it hits a wall. This isn't natural. Somebody deliberately smeared blood all over these walls. See how it looks like it's got paint trails. That's because somebody used Tong's parts like a brush. So they painted his walls with blood? Why? Do I look like a psychologist to you? Maybe because they're freak. Maybe they're one of those sick serial killers that sees their murders as art. I got no clue. All I know is what normal blood looks like on a wall, and this ain't it. Some people have a bad grasp of art. I knew this guy in Kwantan who used to make music out of stray radio static and panic button calls. Called it Crisis Wave. It was awful. Даже звучит awful. Crisis Wave. Synthwave, да. Retrowave, да. Еще 3 улики, да? Привет. Так, SimSense Editor. Давай пообщаемся. This is a Yamaha 95000V SimSense, a device for mixing and mastering SimSense chips. Several drive bays are empty and all of the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning, requested files cannot be found. Please return devices to bay and try again. Изобиль, твой выход. There, I've put the drive warning on suspense. It's in diagnostic mode only though. Maybe we'll learn something, maybe not. Yamaha CMOS 5.23 system diagnostics check. Memory OK, drive error, bus OK. Beginning core dump, please wait. Looks like Tong was cooking some BTLs here. He's hacked the peak controller output cutoffs. The delta levels on SIM chips are usually about 4 to 5, 6.5 for Kai Hots. His delta peaks are pushing 12. That's brain burning territory, Vlados, and all the drives and chips those BTLs were stored are missing. I never liked Tong, but it wasn't because he was a bad guy. I just didn't like any of the elders. But if he was cooking chips at Delta 12, maybe he burned somebody he shouldn't have. Maybe they flipped their leads and came after him, or a relative did. The meta-human brain can't handle this kind of output. I'll shut down after a few of these. Или это накрутили потом, уже после его смерти. Все может быть. Tong's desk drawers are open, and the safe that's built into one side, has been opened. There's no sign of tampering, and the green light next to the word unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any with money on them. Looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep on the empty cred sticks in his safe. Bathroom is immaculate and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exit through here. Так, но у меня зацепок-то практически не остается. Пустые крестики. Пустые эти самые. Жесткие диски отсутствуют. Кровяхи налили насмерть. Фу, блин, насмерть, на стену. Идем дальше тогда. Может, еще с кем-то надо будет поговорить. Делегация он целая собралась. А ну, что ты мне расскажешь? It went like somebody went through Tong's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here, but before Ip found him. Could have been anybody, really. Ip had a key to his place, but the lock's total crap. Anybody half decent at cracking maglocks could have gotten inside. What's missing? His BTLs, hard drives, and cred sticks are all missing. Sounds like the killer looted his place to me. All this talk of monsters, yeah, sure, there are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of the scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. What do you do around here, Porter? It's a catch-all territory, I guess. I work for Elder Ip. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules, protect people who need protecting. Mostly, I just do whatever Ip asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. That's not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. I make it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, I let in the electrician who fixing the wiring. Toilets clogged, I let the drone guy who opens it back up. Окей. Такой себе паренек на побегушках, да? Зиппи. Здорово, Зиппи. This orc is busily snacking on a steamed bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it towards you. Hey, stranger, nice to see you. Zippy Totag at your service. How are you liking Wampo Garden? Do I know you? We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. The elders had me autopsy what was left of Elder Gan and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart, but I didn't want to dig any deeper. So since I don't know you and I can smell a Shadowrunner a mile away, you've got to be the outsider they asked to stop the killings, right? Nothing gets by you, does it? See, I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually. If you're in the market for replacements. Only slightly used, and they only come from certified donors, I swear. Man, I kill myself. Make a joke like that again, maybe I'll kill you first. Okay, I get the message. No more bad jokes. I know, I am no comedian. I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here. I keep the other Wampons healthy. Gotta practice down the road. Blind Chan's pretty good cyberdog, but he's basically an important specialist and that's it. How'd you end up here? I did my residency back in the UCAS. Could have become a real MD too, if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. I also decalictal, but I'm better at slicing skin than I see. Wampo Garden seemed a good fit for me. Let me ask you about Wampo Garden. What are your thoughts on the murders? Pretty gruesome business. Gen died from a broken neck. Looked like someone had wrenched it around, and his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin flayed away too. Nakamura has his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. At first I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I didn't look at Yetunde. From that I saw at a distance it was the same story. Didn't seem much point since I'd seen it twice already. As for Ton, from what Porter told me, it was Gen and Nakamura all over again. You take a look at him yet? Yeah, it's the same as you described the others. Damn, I liked Don. The BTL business is unsavory, but the man had to eat. And his regular seams were great. Generally all-round nice guy. Friendly with everyone, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice. Let me tell ya. What can you tell me about the elders? Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Angie is the spiritual leader here. She's the voice of the Womp Ones, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more followers, since she is something of a priest of the machine spirits. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Ipsy muscle and has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and BioWare. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wandering, and you'll tear them arms off. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3, The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fight choreography. What about Tank? I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Found him cooling over some triads of automated delivery drones in the warehouse once. He works with drones, had a shop called the Blessing Autofab. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement patterns of something. You already know about Ton. Ren seems BTL's skill chips. Get used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved into statistical analysis. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment, trade mostly. Spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals in ads. Then there was MacP. She was the chief decker. Hot as hell against IC, but built her own hardware. Salty old woman though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill or nasty when she was mad. She was mad most of the time. Wait, nobody mentioned MacP to me. When did she die? She didn't. Maybe a month ago she just up and disappeared. I went to her shop one day and she just wasn't open. Nobody's seen her since. Kind of a pain the ass too. She owed me some new analyze software she'd picking up. I've never heard of MacP either. She must be one of the newer Womp ones. If she was the decker, she would have replaced Elder Gao. No surprise then. Gao was older than King Shihuandi's Terracotta Warriors. When I was learning decking from him, he could barely get out of bed. Still fast as hell in the Matrix though. How can you be new and an elder? It's a stupid name. It doesn't actually have much to do with the time spent in the community. That has something to do with it, sure, but it's mostly about how skilled you are, how good your connections are, and how much you can help everybody else. Should I call them experts or something? Bingo, that's exactly it. She was only here for about 3 years, but she knew a lot of people all over the Matrix, in Shanghai, in Beijing, all kinds of places. But plus, that plus her skill meant she was a shoo-in when Gao died. Where do you think she went? No idea. One day she was here, the next, poof. At first I thought she was just on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday, but it didn't feel right. She would have at least told me that she was leaving. It seems mighty suspicious to me. Nobody else seems to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them all off so bad. Is there any place you think I should start looking? You might want to check out her shop. It's all locked up, but the other elders have a spare key. Couldn't hurt to look around, and even though MacP was always butting heads on the other elders, they wouldn't have any reason not to let you in. Okay. What did they argue about? MacP and the others never saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest has a grand vision of what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Megby just wanted to deck. She was only an elder because they needed someone with the Matrix chops. The last big argument was between her and G, Ip, and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the pirate trade business into the Matrix, and she just absolutely refunded. And why? She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she wasn't going to let Tang expand his drone business any further, because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accused her for blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. Okay. No wonder they were mad. Yeah, you're telling me. I like the old coat, but she was a handful at the best of times. Everybody needs her Matrix skills for their business to run properly. There are other deckers, may say, or Mojnebi, but she had the infrastructure. If their project didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of day. She's a real hardhead about having her time wasted, but she figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot, if you ask me. Sounds like she was critical. Yes and no. She was, but since she disappeared, Elder AP's taken over running the Matrix infrastructure. He's not as good at it as she was, but his experience with drones makes him the best candidate. They wouldn't entrust something like that to anyone who wasn't an elder, so here you go. See you later, Zippy. Получается, снова идем к этим. Вампуа Гарден. А где Вампуа Гарден находится-то, собственно? Ключик дайте, пожалуйста. Why didn't you tell me about Elder Maxby disappearing? Why would we have? Her departure from the Wampuans isn't related to our investigation. It happened before the killings began. I'm certain she's just off sulking somewhere. No doubt she will come waltzing back next month, all full of attitude that life bears to go on without asking her permission. If she does, we'll welcome her back. Despite our problems with her behavior, her skills make her extremely valuable. I've taken our maintenance of our Matrix infrastructure in her absence, but I'm nowhere near her level. The best I can do is ensure nothing breaks down until she returns. I'd like to take a look around her shop. Do you have the key? Yes, but there's a lot of sensitive equipment in there, including our community servers. We don't let anyone who is not one of the Wampuans Elder in there. Why do you need to look around here? Don't really need. Потрясающе. Что за радуга? This woman sports brilliantly hued hair that shifts colors, scintillating with every passing moment. She is powerfully built, natural athlete, or someone who works out a great deal. Notably, a large shotgun rests on the arcade cabinet next to her. She affords you a short glance as you approach. When she speaks, you note a peculiarity lyrical accent of her voice. Something I can help you out. I can help you with there, friend. You're throwing off me game, and I'm trying to beat my best score. That's some interesting hair you have. Well, sure isn't the reason they call me Rainbow. Rainbow Smite. That's shooters. Why there's also a Smite. Peace on you, ma. A right robbery that was. Right then. You don't seem like them womp ones. They're all MI touched, yeah? Maybe you are too, but you don't advertise it like they do. What's your story? Just here on the job, that's it. Alright, the murders and whatnot, I expect. Best of luck, that's that. Seems like a nasty business, and the one that I didn't care to get involved with. And what are you doing here? Me? I'm a bit of a big game hunter these days. I get into strange places, look for some kind of paracritter and I've not seen before, and then I put a bullet in it. Only the nasty ones, though. No point in hunting a tailscat or such. It's only things like gargouilles, barghests, and whatnot. All the work I did with them in my youth does a good job of keeping me alive. I was out in Jakarta last year, hunting one of them Indonesian vampires. You ever heard of them? Call them Leyek or Penanggalans, depending on who you ask. Their heads and guts come out of the bloody cavity and they fly around like a giant messy pile of pasta. Took me a solid 2 months to track her down, but I did it. Once the job was done, I asked myself, okay Rainbow, where's the best place in East Asia to find some action? So Hong Kong it was. All the key what's it here mean a bigger concentration of odd creatures that you'd usually find in a city. Been spending a lot of time down in the storm drains these days. I heard rumors of a rat king down there, where a mass of devil rats get all tied together in some kind of big awful red beast. I haven't tracked it down yet, but I figured it's only a matter of time, yeah? Where are you from? Born and raised in Dublin. Внезапно. Down on the banks of the Liffey. Spent most of my early life there. Work in security sacred spaces. You know, historical sites of undeveloped land. The Green Movement was big in those days. It was a bit like being a park ranger, but sure didn't beat some dead-end desk job. Spent a lot of time around country Dublin and Wicklow. I always loved animals, and I found out being a ranger puts me in close with them. It was a good time, yeah? Making sure the budding new species like the bogies and centaurs didn't upset the ecology of Wicklow National Park much. Also kept the nastier beats like the each wheezch from running amok across populated areas. Isn't that a demon horse? I am. That's right, they're cannibal horses basically. Nasty buggers that drag people into a box and then drown you. Sometimes people call them kelpies, on account of water plants they pop out of. Anyway, as I was saying, problem was I started to develop this wee neck. Just a small thing, I keep magic from working when I'm around. Spells don't go, spirits fell apart, and the park critters get really feisty, yeah? To make things worse, this was around the time Liam O'Connor threw his corp and formed Tir na Nog. With all his fancy talk about elves and ancient magic, it was a bit scandalous to have a woman guarding ancient sites that wasn't just mundane, but also killed magic around her, so I got fired. Bang on. And I don't look a day over 25, do I? Yeah, I'm Irish, not one of them noggins. Pack of punters, the lot of them, always going on about their ancestral lands and the glory of the past and all that bullshit. I saw them kick dozens of old Irish families off their land just because their ears weren't pointy enough. Or they didn't meet some stupid arbitrary criteria of old nobility. It was that kind of thing that brought back the ERA, just like in the bad old days of the Troubles. То неловко, когда у тебя там 2050 какой там 4-6 год, а у тебя ирландская повстанческая армия. The skivers in the new tier didn't pay for the land they took. They just had a pack of bullies with guns. I've always been sympathetic to the little guy in the fights. They offered to pay for my help and I said yes. Simple as that. So you became a terrorist? Fair, don't be so dramatic. They fixed me up with the cyber tincture and gave me a lot of the kit I've got in me now, in exchange for going overseas to work for them. Smuggling, running, guns making contracts in Europe. Same kind of shit all revolutionary groups do. Seeing as how me own fam got kicked out of their house, I was glad to do it. I still do work for them these days, but there's a lot of less of it. Lady Date cracked down on dissidents but good. See you. Я так понимаю, в какой-то момент мне с ней еще придется пересечься. Возможно, даже нанять, хз. Кто его знает. Так. Давайте искать убивцу. Если здесь не получится найти ничего нового, надо будет еще раз зайти на яхту, там пересмотреть. Но пока что-то как-то... О, вот есть 2 диалога. Тут что-то есть интересное. О, тут еще нормальный такой кусок карты есть. Давай с тебя начнем. Демерго. This man has a tired, world-weary demeanor about him. His eyes track your movements with a penetrating critical precision. Something about him, the lines about his eyes, perhaps makes you suspect he's seen a lot of terrible things happen. He lifts his cup of cheap soy calf as you approach. Let me guess, you are the freelancers the elders are paying to took into murders around here. That's right, who are you? Call me Demergo. I am not one of the womp ones, but I've been here long enough, and they don't think twice about me being here. So, what you found so far? What's it to you? Professional curiosity. I used to be with the New York Police Department as part of their thaumaturgical research division, part of the CSI branch, except I did the magical investigation while the other guys pulled prints and checked blood samples. When I hear about shit like this happening, I keep my ear to the ground. Old habits, you know. So why aren't you investigating it? Elder NG asked me to look into the killings after the first murder. She couldn't afford my fee though, so I took a pass. It's not just the money either. You see that the stuff day after day, you pay a price. It eats away at you. You know that it's like to feel all the sickness and anger every day, to be asked to pick up a murder weapon and relieve somebody's death. Feel it going into your neck, pleading in the voice of a dead woman for her killer to spare you. These days, I'd rather interrogate the living, thanks. Okay, that sounds awful. Awful. It's more than awful. It's a goddamn nightmare, is what it is. One I couldn't wake up from a long time. Sometimes you have to cut and run, start fresh. At least now I can pick my own jobs. I can read objects. It's called psychometry. A little trick I managed to pick up. Don't really know how. I hold something. I can tell you what happened to it. Who owned it. Now it killed someone. If someone loved it or was afraid of it. Useful, but it will tax your heart. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to read anything you find. I already told NG I didn't want to be I didn't want any part of this. You want advice. I'll give you that, but I'm not getting drawn in further than that. So aside from that, is there anything I can help you with? Can you tell me something about Womp Ones? I don't know much, even though I've been here almost 2 years. I'm an outsider. They don't really accept anyone who's not as much of tech nut as they are. I'm just the crazy mage that lives down the road. Abe's got some heavy duty cyberware, basically an enforcer for the rest of the council. He doesn't seem to set much policy. Angie is the shaman that worships machine spirits. It's all a bunch of hokum, if you ask me. Magic is magic. Whatever you wanna call the source is fine by me. But you don't ask me to believe in the great spirits of electronics. As for everybody else, they tend to be an okay bunch. A bit strange, but that's fringe culture for you. They scrounge tech, rebuild it, sell it off. Some of them even have their own autofab shops. Their stuff's pretty high quality too. People from all over Asia come to shop here if they need something rare or unusual. Tight-knit little community, all things considered. What do you think about the murders? They started a couple of weeks ago. Elder Gan was the first to go. That's when NG asked if I could look into them. He was ripped apart, arms wrenched out of their sockets, skin flayed away with a razor-sharp knife. The rest have been the same. Whatever did it sure didn't care about it being clean death. The funny thing is, the Hong Kong police force was out there a few weeks before that, maybe a month ago, tops. I know that doesn't seem like much, but the Womp Ones don't usually let the police in here. That by itself is odd enough, but it gets even stranger. The officers were lauded for bear, 2 big guts, and heavy armor with NBC seals, the works. They went into the parking garage near here, and there was some kind of gunfight. Never made it back out. When backup showed up, the Womp Ones chased them away. Why would they let cops in and chase them away? That's exactly the kind of question you should be asking, and the elders refused to answer when I asked. Go take a look for yourself if you want. Watch out though. A gang's taken up residence in here, dealing drugs and BTLs. They call themselves the Red Spear. Not too violent, but if you don't push them, but be careful what you say. Okay. Tong wasn't afraid when he died. He was caught by surprise. That's not what I would have expected. With the amount of mess at each scene, the victims should have left behind a hell of a lot of fear and pain. Are you sure? Very sure. Tong died tonight, so the astral signature hasn't had time to fade. There was only a sense of perfunctory accomplishment. Perfunctory. Then it sounds like this wasn't a crime of passion. A planned attack would have that kind of resonance in my experience. It's possible the gore show is to throw off anyone looking for the actual reason. Yeah, if I wanted to kill someone and get away with it, I'd try to point the finger at some kind of monster. Basic investigation 101. It's usually the simplest explanation, but don't discount our other possibilities. You think the mess wasn't incidental? It's a possibility. Ask yourself this. If the mutilation happened after Tong's death, why would a killer perform that kind of ritual? Serial killers who engage in that kind of ritual don't feel perfunctory about it, in my experience. It tends to feel more like they're taking communion. It's a religious or sexual feeling most of the time. If this didn't feel that way, I don't think the killer is actually pathological. Так, мне открылось сразу два направления. Ага, продолжай дальше в саду искать. И что гангстеры знают? Что знают гангстеры? Гангстеры там. Но я тогда переговорю еще с вот этими двумя ребятами, которые здесь были. Может, они что подскажут. Мой жнеби. The man in front of this stall is rooting through a box of music chips with the swift fingers of someone who knows that they're looking for. Behind him, a music player pumps out a constant stream of distorted, eternal music. The stall's proprietor is nowhere to be seen. Can you believe this? They've got 4 bootlegs of Echelon 60, the unreleased Len Keys double cheap show from Brazzaville, but absolutely zero chips from Shotgun Bloom. This stall stuff is purely second-rate. Hey man, don't get down on Echelon 60. I saw them when they played that unlicensed show at the old Chocotart factory out in Suyan 1. The show was amazing, even if the police had to break it up midway through the second set. The show might have been great, but come on, Echelon 60 is old news. They're already being mainstreamed. I saw a treat ad for the new Mitsubishi Ostro scooter, and they were using main Volt underbass at the backing music. Made me sad, I tell you. Moi Jnebi at your service, Decker technologist, music fan. You're not from around here, are you? You don't hold yourself like a native. Not Wampo Garden, no. I thought so. What brings you up here? Out here. I'm trying to find out who's been killing the elders. Oh, that's a nasty business. I heard Tong died tonight. I don't know who or what they pissed off, but it seems like a really bad scene. I'm trying to keep my nose out of it. Still, I like this place. Is there anything I can do to help? What can you tell me about Swamp Ones? We are a collection of freaks, geeks, nerds, and tech junkies. This place may look like a third world bazaar, but believe me, we have stuff here that's cutting edge in almost every field. Maybe it's not an advanced as the stuff that megas have in their development labs, but it's as advanced as anything you can find in a store. People come from all over the world to buy and sell there and work out deals for big shipments. We've got contracts with every pirate and smuggling group in the South China Sea, and every major syndicate and gang in the Free Enterprise Zone knows not to mess with us. Not only are there a lot of us, nobody wants to lose what we are selling. The Red Dragon made a play 4 years ago, but we chased them out. Scooted off back to Homantin, and they've never been back. Так, хорошо. Good for you. That's how you survive. It's all about playing the angles. Yeah, it pissed them off, but then we sold goods to the Yellow Lotus at a discount. In exchange, the Yellow Lotus kept them off our back. You don't have to beat up the big guy to win. You just have to make him step back so the other big guys see he's off balance. Stand-up fights are for the megas. We are about survival, just like everybody else in the shadows. Know anything about the murders? I'm trying to stay far away from it as possible. I am not connected enough to hear anything important, and all the talk about monsters is just plain dark. I'm not afraid of monsters, but I don't want to get their attention. All I know is that a couple of months ago we had Elder Nakamura, Yetunde, Gun, and Magpie, and now we don't. I've heard about Magpie. Magpie, наверное, Magpie. Sounds like she was kind of vicious. To be blunt, she's a hateful, shrewish old badger of a person. It was always her way or the highway. She'd butt heads with the other elders over damn near anything. The last fight she had with was with Tank over something or other. I guess she ended up throwing some of his microdrones into the deep fryer and threatening to kick his ass around the block. What was her line of business? Matrix gear. Her shop's called Checkpoint. Not very imaginative, I know. She always had the hottest programs, best chips, and made some killer decks for anybody willing to pay her rates. It cost plenty of new yen, but she was one of the best in her business, at least in Hong Kong. If you want to know more about her, you should talk to Zippy. He's one of the only people around here who got along with Magpie. You can probably find him in the MTR station, by the MTR station. He loves the steamed bun can cart over here. Так, ну с Zippy я уже поговорил. What's your expertise? I'm a decker. I used to be a company man for years, pushing codes on their servers, smearing the little cyber pukes that would try to get into our secure system. I made a pretty good living. Had my own place on the 48th floor in the corporate skyscraper. It was the kind of thing that the Sims teach you everybody reaches for, the dream life. So what went wrong? I found out the company wasn't what I thought it was. Sure, they paid me well and kept me in creature comforts, but I accidentally looked over some misfiled reports while cleaning out the company data store. Turns out one of the company security riggers had gotten drunk and blabbed about some project or others or other being over budget and behind schedule. That's not good. It'd be a fireable offense, right? Well, I guess upper management was worried that info would hunt their stocks ratings by a fraction of a point or two, so they fired the guy with a .308 round right through the skull. Ну, большая корпорация может и по головам пострелять. You should have known that's how the corporations handle problems. Well, I sure as hell know it now. You get a wake-up call like that, it will really open your eyes. It may only have been fractions of a point, but that was still tens of millions of new yen. I guess that went beyond a firing offense, directly into murder territory. What's worse, since I now knew about both the projects and the murder, I could be next in the firing line. I knew I wasn't worth the expense to hunt down, as long as I kept my head down, so I came out here looking for like-minded deckers. I guess I ended up staying because I could get a semblance of community out here, and I couldn't get that many other places. Что ж, ну успехов тебе тогда. Breaker Huey. An imposing troll stands in front of a stall overflowing with weapons of all sorts. Pistols, rifles, and even brass knuckles overflow into a rug around him. Ho there! You look like a man who understands the value of self-defense. Breaker Huey at your service. And I can promise I can help you defend yourself. What do you say? Want to take a look? 9L, capacity 30. А у меня что? А у меня 8L, capacity 24, да? Чудно. Что по информации? Know anything about the murders? Just that elders have been getting hacked apart. I've tried to stay away from it all. No sense painting the crosshairs on my own forehead, right? I'm nobody important, and I am to keep it that way. You know anything about Elder Magpie? Never met her, thank God. She ran with the Deckers mostly, since she dealt in chips and software. I heard she was hard to work with. I think the phrase I overheard was that she shrieked like a harpy with a fresh corpse. I don't know. You should ask Zippy though. He's a Shadowrun with the deck, so he'd know her better than most. Aside from Tong, who slings the BTLs around here? The Red Spear gang. They run up in here sometimes, but don't cause any trouble. Check out the parking garage south of here, though. They usually hole up in there. Step light though. If they don't know you and you cop an attitude, they'll put you in the ground. Funny thing, I heard there was a shootout in some Hong Kong police in the garage a month ago. I was away in Beijing at that time, so I didn't see it directly, but everybody was talking about it when I got back. What's funny? Because we don't let the HKPF in here, most times. We shoot at them if they try. Every time they come in here, it's bad for us because they're always looking for a scapegoat. Why would the elders let them in? Nobody knows. Okay. Идем тогда к этим копейщикам. Тут, видимо, не пройти, только сюда. Ну, давайте подойдем к этим. Здорово. That's far enough, guy. This lot's our turf. If you're looking for a fix, you're welcome to trade. If you are not here for business, clear the hell out. You try and wander around on our turf, we're gonna have to air you out. So, what do you say? You're looking for a little pick me up, a little nitro to give you some pep. Maybe you want some chips that take that edge off. You want it, I got it. Давайте посмотрим. Торговать никогда не будет лишним. Тут ничего интересного. Can I look around this garage? Man, are you deaf? What the hell did I tell you? No, you goddamn well can't wander around one turf. Понял. What happened in the fight here? As far as I know, some police showed up looking for somebody. They got in here, all of them got killed. Whoever they were after was long gone by the time we showed up. It used to be a lot of Womp ones living here. They are cleared out, muttering about ghosts and shit like that. Have you heard anything else about the murders? Nothing much. I'll tell you what. I've got a guy named Kang, and he was down in the storm drain system last week. Something was moving down there, big too, man-sized, but it wasn't speaking any language Kang understood. Kid beat feedback here as fast as he could. Dumbus dropped his storm drain key on the way out. Though you wanna go looking for whatever it was, you'll have to get a new key from somebody else. Kang stole his from the city worker. Who else might have a key to the storm drains? There's a guy named Porter Lamb who's got keys to pretty much everything. He's somewhere between a cop and a handyman. Yuan also mentioned some elf woman with a crazy colored hair who managed to scam a key. He said she hunted paracritters down here, devil rats and shit. О, это Rainbow. Так и знал, что с ней еще придется пообщаться. Так, что тут еще есть? Да все, собственно. Атаковать не буду, все остальное не буду. Так. Получить ключ. Тут что? А, тут у нас... Ага, Investigate паркинг. Все, понял. Блин, ну я не хочу ввязываться в драку. Ни к чему это. Ввязываться в драку ни к чему. Тогда идем к чуваку. У него должен быть ключ. Так, do you have a key to the storm drainage system? Sure, why do you ask? Drop a gun down a grate or something, following up a lead to the killer. In that case, take the damn key. You'll have to forgive me if I don't want to go down with you. Knock yourself out, man. There's an entrance by the Jade Mountain restaurant. Can't miss it. See you later. Хорошо, хоть в описании квестов пишется, что за название ресторана, потому что по-иероглифски непонятно. Так, кровяха какая-то, еще кровяха. Много кровяхи. Наверное, надо нажать F5 на всякий случай, это что-то как-то очково. Когда покидаешь диалоговую территорию и вступаешь в боевую. А ну, стопе, это что? Body parts. The disgusting pile of stinking human remains smells strongly of blood and the first stages of decay. The arms, legs, and organs are here, heaped together like stacked firewood, leaking blood and gore across the floor. The parts contained therein appear to have been sliced away from the parent body rather than torn or bitten. Judging by the clean edges of the cuts, the blade used to sever these parts was extremely sharp. This is a whole world of messed up those. You think the killer stashed these here? They are stacked. They've been organized. This is our killer, all right. Looking closer at the pile, one part stands out. It's a severed forearm, and it's covered in tattoos. Words in a Slavic language and shining lighthouse adorn the forearm, and ring-like images are inked on each finger. On the back of the hand there is a skull inside a square. Whoever owned this arm isn't likely to be Womp-One, as the tattoos look like they were poorly drawn and inked by hand rather than a machine. Most likely Russian criminal tattoos. Так бы с каждым Russian криминалом. Так, Storm Drain, что тут? Despite the darkness, you see something glitter at the edge of the drain. Looking closer, it appears to be a necklace chain of some kind. It's become caught in the drain's gate, narrowly avoiding falling down the deep pit. Берем. Lifting the necklace out of the drain, you turn it over in your hands. It's a simple silver pendant on a chain. The silver pendant depicts a long-tailed bird in flight, a magpie. Опа. A magpie. Или magpie. Или magpie. Надо будет погуглить правильное произношение. As you round the corner, you hear voices speaking just loudly enough for you to make out coherent sentences. The speakers are definitely not local. They speak with a slight Slavic accent, and their clothing is heavily armored. Around them are a number of crates and boxes, all mostly filled. It looks like a group is packing up. Yaroslav says the boat will ready tomorrow morning. He's gotten everything arranged with the port authority. We move the goods to his warehouse. He'll handle loading them onto the ship, and we can get paid right then and there. I'll be glad to be done with this filthy place. Galina. Galina. I will too. I hate having to hide in these damn drains. It stinks down there. I can hear the devil rats running down the walkways. It's a mess and it's disgraceful. We shouldn't have to put up with this bullshit. And Alexander still isn't back from his little trip. We'll have to leave him behind if he doesn't get back soon. I know, Galina. Until Andrei says we are in the clear form of trades, in the clear from the trades, in the triads, we can't be seen with the goods on the street. They find us, go back to Vladivostok in sausage cousins. Those red dragons, mudaки. Don't screw around when it comes to protecting their turf. Who knows, maybe Alexander was stupid and they caught him. Either way, we'll have to lug these crabs through the drains for a few clicks. The woman orc sniffs the air suspiciously and her eyes dart toward the dark tunnel you stand in. Before you have a chance to get out of the sight, she locks eyes with you. Чё, стреляемся, да? Не, пока еще нет. What have we here? A curious little pest come looking for things that don't concern him. What do we do with pests, Galina? We break them, Vasilisa, and then we hammer a spike through each of their throats, and anyone who sees their bodies knows not to meddle with our affairs. I suggest you stay where you are, pest. Так, ну, русских мы шо, атакуем, получается, правильно? Как бы... С такими угрозами, ребята, далеко мы не зайдем. Весь вопрос только в том, как бы это его обстрелять и самим не подохнуть. Давай сюда 89. Шажочек сюда. Может, добьешь? Может, добьешь, а может, не добьешь. Ой, нет, дофига урона. Воу. Это вообще пахнет как сейвлод. Внезапный вопрос. Ну-ка, спенд карма. Боди, да? Хитпоинты на 10. Качнем-ка. Чуть-чуть. Это что-то как-то совсем печально. Так, валим. Да в смысле промах? 92%. Как говорится, are you fucking kidding me, чешо? Так, 2 минус. Думаю, можно потихоньку заходить. Всего 2 урона. Маловато. Очень маловато. Неплохой промах. Мне понравился. Мне очень понравился. Вообще супер. Чтоб так всегда промахивались, я просто в шоке. Так, ну и что? Это что? Удобно. Удобно. Нет уже. Патронов уже нету. Так, ну пока неплохо разваливаем. Подтвердить перезарядку. Стреляем. О, это был плохой промах. Это был плохой промах. Но в целом, учитывая предыдущие промахи, то годится. Огонь. Лучший промах. Ну ладно, не лучший. Там, где было... Там, где всех четверых зацепило, по крайней мере, по радиусу. Конечно, урон не нанесло, но по радиусу зацепило всех четверых. Это был хороший промах. Это мне понравилось. Так, и тут что-то попали. До сих пор магазин не закончился. Бесконечный какой-то. Нормальный такой радиус. Не все промахи так хороши, как хотелось бы. Не все. Промах, да? Промах — это плохо. Ну, благо дело, противник подошел, и можно расстрелять его. Так, а это куда лесенка? Ага, в сад обратно. PDA, квестовый PDA. Значит, мы по делу пришли, да? A small PDA sits on the table. The dull glow on the screen illumination the surface around it. It does not appear to be locked. Sitting next to the PDA is an unmarked key card of some kind. Check recent email. Please select file. Get ready to move. Vasilisa, we've got a window for our shipments. We are going to have to get to the harbor in the next few hours. Tell Galina and the others to pack up everything you've got and get ready to haul it through the storm drains towards the meeting spot. We can't afford to miss this opportunity, Yaroslav. Так, Ре. Hey Yaroslav, Alexander is still not back from his scouting trip yet. He said he found a stockroom behind Mrs. Young's Jade Mountain restaurant. There was also a bunch of keycards for it, belonged to some woman named Macbee. He's out through it now. We can just leave him behind. Can't you delay a handoff a few more hours? No, Vasilis, I can't delay the handoff. The ship will leave when it leaves. If Alexander's not back in time to make it, it's his own damn fault. Now get your crew in high gear and make sure they've got the goods by the time things are set. Так, что я там подобрал? Macbee Stockroom, да? Угу. Ну, погнали. Macbee Stockroom. Тут еще ж одного челика, да, можем встретить? Так, еда. Despite the table's crude construction, an artfully laid meal awaits the owner. Several small dishes are filled with pickled vegetables, while a larger plate is arranged with long slices of raw meat. The meat is a pale pinkish white, like raw pork, and is covered by light soy marinade. Poking at the raw meat, you discover that it's surprisingly tender. What's more, it has the faint aroma of marinade, as if deliberately prepared. Давайте съедим кусочек. The flesh is a little tougher than you would expect, but surprisingly flavorful. There's no bitterness or gristle in it. In a few moments, you finish the small piece, and it leaves you only the barest hint of an aftertaste in your mouth. Alright, Lados, I know I love food, but you take it to a whole new level. I mean, we walked into a basement stockroom which is obviously inhabited by somebody. What's the first thing to do? Steal their dinner. That's just cold. Ну да. Не, ну а чё, лежит, пропадает еда, чё вы начинаете? The box is packed full of odds and ends. It nearly overflows with a collection of knickknacks, souvenirs, and assorted personal effects. There is no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Among the contents are charms and various temples, a wooden mask, a paper fan. Examine the mask. The wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted a pale white, and the surface is almost as smooth as porcelain. Delicate features and lifted eyebrows are matched with bright red lips and delicately carved teeth. The teeth have been stained a deep black. Examine the charms. The small charms are square cloth packets, each approximately 1 inch wide and 3 inches tall. They come in a variety of bright colors and are embroidered with characters for prosperity, peace, wealth, and protection. Inside each appears to be a folded proper prayer or fortune written in Japanese. Examine the paper fan. Unfolding the fan, you lift it up toward the light to examine it. The image depicts the East Asian city from 19th century or earlier. Curved roofs at sunset beside a deep blue river. Two ships sail down the river, which is in turn spanned by a lone wooden bridge. In the foreground, laborers carry buckets along the shore as a man on horseback rides in the opposite direction. In the distance, a pair of large red buildings dominate the city skyline, one large temple hall and a five-tiered pagoda. As you step away from the box, you hear a slight click in the distance, the sound of the doors latched shut in. You are no longer alone in the stockroom. Alexander, ты? Standing before you a man clad in heavy armor and bearing a katana on his hip. His skin is an ashen gray, his eyes dead white, his teeth are jagged and appear quite sharp. This is no man, this is a ghoul. Опа. Так это же наш клиент. Гайчу. The ghoul behind eyes surge back and forth as it regards you. It cannot see you, but you have a sense that it knows exactly where you're at all times. Ah, a hired gun, no doubt brought to bear against me by the Wampuan elders. A means by which they can lift the curse plaguing them. I salute your tenacity, but I wonder, will you hear me out before raising your weapon to kill me? You're a ghoul and you are talking? Yes, I am not only talking, I am reasoning as well, and since you have got attempted to kill me, your own higher faculties are engaged. I am curiosity to you. You wish to know not only what I am, but what I have done, as for whom, you may call me Gaichu. I know who you are, you're one killing the Wampa's elders. You are correct, I have killed all the Wampuan elders to date, though only Elder Magpie was according to my initial plan. I regret the death of the other elders, but it was necessary. Explain yourself. This affair began simply enough. As you may surmise, I am not someone who can be seen in public without great risk. Whampoa Garden is an excellent place to hide. No police or triad presence, and minimal interest in things that lurk in the shadows. Unfortunately for me, Elder NG discovered me through communion with her spirits. Rather than kill or chase me away, she came to me with a proposition. NG and the other elders were having problems with one of their number. The elder named Magpie had been holding many of their plans hostage and would not budge. They could not remove Magpie, however, because her services were too useful to the Wampuans at large. NG offered me payment to dispose of Maggie, and I accepted. Why the hell are we talking to this thing, Vlados? It's a goddamn ghoul, and you know what they're like. Really? What? Pray tell, am I like? All teeth and claws and bad manners, I expect. Really? You wanna crack jokes, you cannibal? You're the kind of monster that devour a family just because it's convenient. Remember the 160 seconds, Vlados. He's just like them. They were a gang, Wu, in the Barrens. Like that makes a bit difference. Go on then, talk to the monster, but I'm keeping my finger on the goddamn trigger. I believe we were speaking of the elder plans to have me kill Magpie. Surely, you must be a little curious about that. I've heard of Magpie, but her shop's still locked up. Naturally, they would keep her servers under lock and key to avoid the awkward questions about her whereabouts. I was thorough in disposing of her, as our contract stipulated. She was to simply disappear without a trace. A task was easy enough to accomplish. I disposed of Magpie's body by emptying the blood in her bathroom. Then I cut her up into more portable pieces. Those were placed in a plastic tarp, which I looked to the storm drains and hid. It's unfortunate, but my survival depends upon consumption of raw metahuman flesh. Letting such nourishment go to waste would be a foolish error. But why kill the other elders then? I contacted the elders, not in person of course, and they arranged to exchange payment. I assumed that since the job was done, Angie would be a woman of her words. I was mistaken. I arrived at the nearby parking garage the elders has told me about. They'd cleared out the other Womp-Ones under some pretense, though I'm not sure what ruse they used. The elders never showed up. Instead, several members of the Hong Kong police force arrived. They were more heavily armed than usual, so I suspected they knew something of my nature. I heard about the fight. You expected me to believe you took on a police squad and won? Of course, I have survived as a ghoul for some years now on the streets of Hong Kong. If that isn't evidence enough for my tenacity, I doubt any words I could say to you will change your mind. A betrayal of that sort cannot stand. Not only was I not paid for my time and effort, the Womp-One elders treated me like a common animal, and I am so much more than that. Reputation is everything, and I had none. I had hoped to build a network of contacts so that I would be able to continue finding work, but with that treachery, my hopes were dashed. I decided to become the monster that they feared. One by one, I have eliminated them. They know how to contact me, and could have ended their nightmare at any time but making amends. I would have asked for more money, but I would have seized my hands, yet they did not. Instead, they contacted you, no doubt asking you to eliminate me where the police had failed. So I ask you, what now? What will you do? Will you attempt to finish what the Womp-One started, or will you treat me with the same humanity I have shown you? Did you eat the elders? Some of them, not all. My condition requires that I consume raw metahuman flesh. I do not require a great deal to survive, perhaps 3 or 4 pounds per week. Consequently, there is vastly more supply than demand. Why would the elders have killed you instead of paying you? Any number of reasons. They are notorious cheapskaters and will always try to save money when dealing with outsiders. If could be their natural inclination toward profit, they may regard me as a subhuman and therefore unworthy of respect. It could be that they felt it was too dangerous to allow me to leave. It could be even that simply did not like me. The net result is the same. However, they reneged on a deal we brokered and attempted to have me killed. A message must be sent. Blood must be paid. As they hired you to kill me, they have obviously not learned their lesson. If I let you live, what will you do? Kill the rest of the elders and anyone else they send to exterminate me. It is a matter of survival. Should I ever have the opportunity to work freelance again, potential employers need to understand the price of betrayal. These murders are my curriculum vitae in revenge. Ну, с одной стороны, меня попросили разобраться с этими чудиками, которые как бы являются представительством, в том числе и у главной мадам, на которую я работаю. С другой стороны, они крысы, их надо проучить. Давайте попробуем. Come and work with me, I can be your face. Curious of her, and what's of the elders? Will you allow me the satisfaction of killing them? I want to see what they have to say first. I would counsel you not believe their words, but you have the sound of one who is wary of the matter, of course. Very well. Let us wait until a bit later in the night. Most pedestrians will be off the streets, and it will be easier for us to approach the Wampa without being noticed. Sounds like a good plan. Так, ну шо, здорово. Вампанцы. Поговорим. What are you doing? You've brought this thing into our home. Quick, kill it before it kills us. Yeah, I have to say, this isn't a good idea. Why the hell is Ghoul in here? And why is it wearing armor? Calm yourselves. I'm not an it. And your elders know this intimately. Good evening, Elder NG. I can smell your fear, and I'm glad of this. It means you're learning the price of betrayal. Whoa, what the hell is going on here? Can someone explain to me what the Ghoul is talking? Так. Gaichu has had a contract with the elders, and they betrayed him. You dare to accuse us of conspiring with the monster and covering it up? You're insane. The very idea is preposterous. Preposterous? Короче, вздор, полагаю. I'm interested to hear what kind of evidence you have to support this theory, Vlados. As far as I can tell, the monster killed Tong and the others, and that makes him a threat that should be eliminated. The elders hired Gaichu to kill Elder Magpie and make it look like she disappeared. You believe this vermin? This creature that feasts on metahuman flesh, that kills and dismembers our tribesmen? You are a native and foolish man, if that's the case. What proof do you have that Magpie is dead? NG, please. In matters where an elder is accused of breaking our law, the other elders generally judge them. In matters where all of them had been accused, I am authorized to act as a judge. Make your case, Shadowrunner. I found Magpie's necklace in the storm drains. This is definitely Elder Magpie's. If you found it in the storm drain, that's suspicious, but hardly proof on its own. Of course it's not proof. The number of things lost down storm drains in Hong Kong must number in the tens of thousands per year, while in Yuuzhan it's hardly evidence of full play. Блин, а вот тут мне, скорее всего, понадобилось бы... Мне бы понадобился ключ и пошарить у Магпи дома. She hasn't been seen in a month, not by anyone. She wouldn't just disappear like that. That may be unlikely, but it's hardly impossible. You haven't established that the elders were involved, and you've done it makes the suppositions about it. What proof do you have that we hired and betrayed this creature? I won't sit by and listen the idle accusations without any kind of concrete evidence to back it up. What about the fight with the Hong Kong police force? How do you mean? What does that have to do with the elders and the ghoul? You Wampans don't allow police inside the area. Why make an exception this time? The police were polite and asked our permission to enter. They were hunting in Wampan. That was reason enough for us to allow them in. That doesn't add up, NG. Why would the police ask for the entry now? They've never been polite before, and they've always tried to force their way in there. It just doesn't ring true to me. Did you ask them to come in order to hunt down this ghoul? Preposterous. Porter, you know what our community is like. We wouldn't lie over something like this. This ghoul has been lying the entire time, trying to cover his tracks. He still brutally murdered several elders. That's true. Those murders were vicious and cruel. I don't see any way to explain that way. This ghoul is a monster for how he killed Tonk and the others. Tonk wasn't tortured. There was no astral residue of pain or fear. He didn't even feel the blow. That's correct. I struck a single blow while his back was to me. His death was instant. Regrettable that he had to die for your folly, G, but necessary to protect my reputation. You cannot believe what these people say. They are not to be trusted, and even if this is true, he still killed Tonk. Maybe so, NG, but Monster would not take Tonk's suffering into account. He may be a killer, but he is not heartless. The scene of Tonk's murder, like the others, was deliberately sham. It was made to look more horrific than it was. I believe you. The blood smeared on the walls, the removal of the skin, that's a scene designed to evoke horror, not the scene of an actual fight. Elders, what do you have to say in response? This is a farce. We have dedicated ourselves to protecting the Wampuan tribe and everyone who lived in Wampuan Garden. Do you really believe outsiders and monsters over our world? We who have only tried to end the killings. You've been duped, Porter, and this is Shadowrunner. I concur. Porter, you know me. You know the kind of person I am. I wouldn't be party to the killing of another elder. I can't believe we're even entertaining the notion that we have to defend ourselves. We should be disposing of this ghoul instead. If you think I'll forget this, you are sorely mistaken. I will not tolerate this kind of insult. The elders were all too happy to have the red spears move into the garage, almost like they wanted to keep anyone curious about the fight away. That's right, Eep. You even told me not to go find out what happened with the fight. You said the red spear gangers were moving in and to leave them alone. Why would you tell me not to look into it? I was only trying to protect you from the red spears. They are dangerous, which is why I wanted to deal with them directly. Alright, I think I have some idea what's going on here. And what do you believe the real story is? The waters are muddy on this matter. The ghoul seems to be telling some of the truth, and I respect that. But the fact remains, he's a dangerous creature who'd killed many of our number. Our law is clear on this. He must die. You seem to be blameless in this, Vlados. What do you say to this decision? I'm not going to let you kill Gaichu. Then you too must die. Ip. Вот это называется пытался помочь, вразумить. Elder Tank. Elder NG. Elder Ip и Porter Lamb. Но от Porter Lamb как бы последняя надежда была на самом деле на Портера Лэма. Не оправдалась. Так, ну ладно, тогда гатим. Из всего, что есть. 84. 89%. Грустно. Не хотелось убивать. Так, ну тут с гранатомета, наверное, будет стрёмно стрелять. Всех своих перебью. Не хотелось бы. Промахи. Так, а Гули у нас рукопашник с катаной. Это интересно. А ну раз. 7 урона. А ну раз. 11 урона. Неплохо. Ух, ни хрена не Гуля валят. Так, ну гуля мы сейчас полечим. Гуля мы сейчас полечим, и этого, я думаю, добьем в упор. Раз. И два. Найс. Найс. Так, теперь что по этим? А вот теперь можно взять и гранатомет, наверное. Не лучший урон влетел, не лучший. Nice. Nice, very nice. As the elders fall to the floor, you stop and survey the carnage around you. It's accomplished. No more betrayers alive. No more worry that others may think they can take advantage of me. Leading the way, I look forward to our new business partnership. Неплохо. Мне нравится такой бизнес-партнер. Так, что в итоге? Вернуться в Хиой. Давайте вернемся в Хиой. На улице никого нету. Ночь, ночь, ночь. The MTR rockets noiselessly toward Hiwa along the edge of Kowloon Bay. The black water glitters in the night with the light of thousand reflected storefronts. Gaichu stares silently out of the window, one hard-pressed the glass. The Wampuan elders are dead. They faced your hand and paid the price for it. Their story was a cleverly crafted lie, meant to put the ghoul to death for their greed, but was the trade you made worth it? The uncertainty of the choice is as clouded as the sky above you. Я думаю, оправданная тема. Что они мудаками такими оказались-то? Так, get some rest. Ну, давайте отдохнем. Что за смуглеры? Чё вы, кто вы? Two men in dirty synth leather jackets look up from their conversation at your approach. They both look haggard. Their shoulders slump with exhaustion, and neither appears to have shaved this morning. What do you want, man? We are talking here. Ну ладно, с таким отношением грубым не хочу с вами общаться. Так, это уже полноценный член моей команды, да? Будет доступен на всех миссиях. Это хорошо. Так, здесь, по идее, мы можем забрать плату. Jobs Directory, Claim Payment. I asked you to solve a problem, and your method of solving is to kill the people I was doing a favor for. I have half a mind to throw you into the goddamn bay. Still, the Wampuans are now more afraid of me than ever, and money started flowing again, so I suppose that's something. I have attached your payment. The Wampuans made it explicitly clear that They wouldn't have paid at all, except to ensure you never come back to the gardens. Next time, try not to fuck up the job so much. I must not be as forgiven. Ничего, если это квестовое задание, все ты будешь forgiven. Иначе бы игра не могла просто завершиться. Так, отдохнуть. You wake with a start, your limbs bound up in a sweaty tangle of linen bread sheets. An incredible sorrow smells in your chest. You feel empty, half-starved, and alone. Fragmentary memories of half-remembered dream feel through your minds. They are already fading away to nothing. Явно кошмары снились. You blink 3-4 times, letting seconds pass between closing your eyes and opening them again. Shake your head. Something is nagging at you. A lingering unease. All at once, the memories hit you with the force of a sledgehammer, cracking dead center into your forebrain. The walled city. You were back in the walled city. You don't remember how you got there, but it couldn't have been any place else. Even the barrens weren't so squalid. You remember craning your neck to look above you. The buildings that made up this part of the walled city were new construction, even cheaper than the old. Now their foundations had rotted out from under them, and the buildings leaned into one another like a gang of drunken men. A rain of plaster and asbestos sprinkled down, dusting your shoulders. You began to creep forward, picking your way past the piles of refuse and debris, past the pimps and the dumpster fires, the broken glass and the dirty needles. The air reeked of rotten savage and industrial waste, a disgusting melange that caught in your sinews and crawled down your throat. You gagged on the stink, but it didn't slow you down. In the back of your mind, you knew that you had no reason to be doing this. There was nothing for you in the walled city. You shouldn't have been there. But the rest of you was hungry, unbearably, indescribably hungry. All that part of you knew that it would if you keep moving, you'd finally get to eat. As you forced your way deeper into the walled city, locals stood at their windows and stared inexplicably. Some of them dropped to their knees. You kept moving. You could see something in the distance, a silhouette, something enormous, at least twice the size of a troll, but delicate. It was beautiful. The huge figure beckoned you, gesturing with slender limb. An explosion of warmth filled your chest, and you knew that if you could only reach it, your problems would be over. She would make all of your sorrows disappear. You moved forward at a crawl, but the figure felt impossibly far away. You reached out, calling to her, and then you woke up. The empty feeling in your stomach slowly fades, taking the strength and vibrance of the memories along with it. Мне еще кошмары тут снятся будут. Снится. Ужас какой. Так, ну что ж, наверное, на данный стрим все. 2 часа 40 минут, и это всего одна миссия, а их тут порядка 20. Сложно себе представить, и это еще не считая дополнительную кампанию. В общем, путь не близкий, но пока интересный. В общем, спасибо всем за внимание. Не знаю, когда будет следующий стрим. Да и не важно это. В общем, спасибо всем за внимание и до новых встреч.